If you've ever said, no one can do this the way that I do, you're probably right. And you're probably killing your business's ability to grow. You see, just because you happen to be uniquely skilled at something doesn't mean that you're the only person who can do it. And I was talking to a business owner, and this is exactly what came up. He was unbelievable at talking to customers. He knew the right questions to ask, how to ask them, when to lean in, when to pull back. He could get so much information from his customers that no one else could. And so he was uniquely able to get what he needed to give them the service that they needed to fix all of their problems. And when I asked him about growing the business, he hesitated. This works because I'm really good at asking these questions and finding out what they need. If I hire somebody else, they aren't going to be able to do it. They can't do it like I can do it. And that was fair. So I didn't want to ask about hiring someone right away. Instead, I wanted to know, what is it that you're doing that's unique? How are you moving things forward? What makes you so good at this? Let's start pulling this apart because it's not magic. There is a system and a process behind it. We just haven't uncovered it yet. And I'm going to tell you a story that's going to illustrate this. There was a CIA agent, Jim Lawler, and he was initially terrible at his job, but he kept trying, bless his heart. And one day, out of exhaustion, he tried something new, and it worked. And he tried it again, and it worked again. And eventually, he went from the worst at recruiting spies to the best. Other people wanted to learn from him. And he was able to break it down into a system. This system turned what seemed like magic into a process, repeatable. Other people could learn from it. They could add their own flavor to it, and they could take this education and move forward. So we want to take your secret sauce, your magic, and see what it really is. What are the parts of it that are repeatable, that are a process? What questions do you ask every single time? Is there an order to which you ask questions? What lets you know that someone needs you to go deeper? Is it a body language change? Is it a word or a phrase that they're using? What do we do when X happens, when Y happens? It's really, what are we watching for, listening for, so we can figure out how to keep moving forward. That was the secret sauce and the magic behind this particular person and how they got to be so good at what they were doing. So I want to be clear, even though we can write this down, we can record it, we can figure it out, does that mean that you're going to hand this off and the next person is going to be a superstar immediately? No, of course not. They're not going to be. But neither were you. When you first started out, you had to learn. What you're doing is you're giving them a whole bunch of notes. You're getting them started faster than you got started. You're giving them a cheat sheet to do better. You're setting things down so that every single time someone new does come into the business, they know where to start. They don't have to go through all of the learning that you had to go through. They've already got, hey, here's where you start. Don't do this, do this. What's key is experience is absolutely valuable. And you can't transfer experience, but you can transfer the lessons that you learned, the skills that you developed along the way. What is it that you notice? What steps are you taking? What do you know? What do you know isn't accurate if someone says it is? What are you really good at? And work with people. And guess what? You're going to have a system, you're going to have a process, you're going to have training in place so that you don't have to be the person who does everything. Maybe you do find along the way there is something that you do need to do. You are uniquely able to do this. But maybe that's 10% of it. And you have other people who can do 90% of it. If you have to do 100%, you're limiting how much you can do. But if you only have to do 10% of it, everybody else is doing the other 90, you can do a whole lot more. And if you find out that that 10% is really where you should be at, or even 20% or 30%, well, this is how business owners become the bottlenecks in their businesses and how they unintentionally stop and prevent growth. And this happens to lots of businesses because you care. You care deeply and you're really good at what you do and you love this work and you want to make sure that your clients have an amazing experience, but you can't do it all. So here's what I want you to do. The next time everybody's relying on you for the answer, the next time you think to yourself, oh, I just have to take care of it. Oh, just hand it off to me. Oh, just let me finish this. No one can do this like I do it. Stop. Ask yourself, why do I need to be the one to do this? Take some time and write it down. Write down why you need to be doing it. And you may find it's just a knowledge transfer that needs to happen, or training, or maybe you need a different piece of software. What sequence needs to be followed so other people can come in and they can take this job off your plate? So here's what I want you to do the next time you catch yourself saying, nobody can do this like me. Stop. Sit down and start writing it down. What is it that makes you so good at this? What questions are you asking? What steps are you following? How are you getting from point A to point B? What needs to happen? Your goal isn't necessarily to make you replaceable. It's just to make the business no longer reliant on everything that resides within your own head and your own skill set. You can still be the absolute best at what you do. You just don't want the business to turn into something that can't function without you. Because I'm the best at what I do feels like a competitive advantage until it grinds your work to a halt and kills your growth. And that business owner I was talking to, after we walked through all of these steps together, he realized at most, absolute most, he only needed to do about 15% of all the things he was actually doing in the business. A lot of it was trainable, repeatable. There were things he could actually automate. There were lots of things that were admin tasks that he didn't realize, oh, yeah, I can hire somebody to do that. I just get an SOP, show them what to do, and I don't need to do this anymore. And your business probably has a lot of the same things going on. So take a look at it, figure out what you actually are uniquely able to do, and figure out what you're great at, but can teach others to do or create a process for. That's how you create a business that can scale and grow. And if you're trying to do that and you're like, yeah, you're preaching to the choir, but people still keep asking me questions all the time, I actually have a video about that, which I will link to. It's how to stop those owner interruptions. And I also have a video where I go over ways that I work through problems with clients and I help them find the real constraint. Because even though we hear that there's a problem, there's usually something else hiding beneath the surface. We just have to ask the right questions to figure out what your real constraints are. And once you figure out what those constraints are, you can solve them. Thank you so much for joining me today. Go forth and profit, everybody.